We'll just kind of step back and get into what to look for when you're buying a ball.
Yep. And that was all good information too. So like now we're just going to briefly talk about like the advantages and disadvantages of like a single cam versus a dual cam.
Hey guys, I'm back here again now with John Gullidge from Aero Addictions in Shoal Harbour, Newfoundland. In the previous video we did a little bit of a technical talk on tuning bows and stuff for people who are already into archery and how they can improve their shooting as well as make it safer with some of the necessary things that you need to do. So check out that video, the link is above here and it'll also be in the description. But to also include some people who want to get into archery for the first time, we mentioned it in the last video about how important it is to buy a ball from someone who knows what they're doing as opposed to a big back store, because there's a lot of issues that you have to consider when buying a ball. So I'm going to let John take over now and just give us his thoughts on buying a new ball and getting into the whole sport of archery for target shooting and as well as for hunting.
Yep, thanks a lot. So I guess a real important thing is to keep in mind you're gonna get what you pay for. Like you can certainly buy, there's plenty of models out there that are like in the $200-300 range, and there's a reason they're in that price range. Like you don't want to cheap out. I always compare bows. This doesn't mean you got to spend thousands of dollars, just to be clear up front, but you don't really want to cheap out and get like those $200 bow packages, okay? I compare bows to instruments. You can certainly go buy a $200 kit from Walmart with a guitar and amplifier and a case and everything you need. It's $200 setup. Wow, great! I'm saving so much money, but it's not going to play the same. It's going to be more difficult to play. It's not going to sound the same, and it's just going to be a really crummy setup. Versus if you go to a professional music shop and spend $1,000, say, you'll probably get something a little more robust and a little better quality, right? So bows are the same thing. What's really important is, so there's a lot of different cam styles out there. There's like hybrid cams, binary cam systems, all that stuff, but for the purpose of this video I'm going to focus on two common ones in that economy bow range.
So what exactly is the cam on a bow here you're talking about?
So the cams are these what people would think are considered pulleys. So these are, if you notice here, what I have in front of me is a dual cam bow. These are oblong pulleys that look identical on the top and bottom, so this is what is referred to as a dual cam. The other type of model that I'm going to focus on is a single cam bow. So what this is, there is an oblong, like odd shaped pulley on the bottom, and up top there's just a straight, just a perfectly round, what's called an idle wheel. So this is not doing anything other than just turning. So the main thing is that with these two, with the dual cam that I'm holding here, when this bow goes back to full draw and it locks at its full draw length, these cams need to stop at exactly the same time. If there's even a playing card in thickness, in difference, like a 1/32 of an inch on one cam stopping before the other, it can drastically impact how the bow is going to shoot. So like the video last time we talked about paper tuning and stuff like that, you won't be able to achieve a proper paper tune if your cam timing is way off. We're going to come back to that in a second. With a single cam, there is no timing issues that need to be concerned. It's just the bottom cam is doing everything you need it to do, and you don't need to worry about what the top wheel is doing in relationship to that. So these bows both come in around the same price tag. This is well, I won't actually talk about brands or anything like that because I don't want to ruin my reputation with any of the companies I deal with. This dual cam like this is better suited to a youth archer that is going to be growing for several years. The strength in this type of bow and these economy bow packages that are in the $500 range is that they're usually very adjustable. This one has a 70-pound adjustment range. You can go from 65-pound range. You can go from 5 pounds to 70 pounds in draw weight, versus this one you can only adjust it by 15 pounds of draw weight from peak weight. So this one, for a kid that's going to be growing for a long time and is going to need constant adjustments on his bow, these economy bows are a little bit of a better purchase for them. For a full-grown adult or even a teenager that is fully grown, it leaves a lot to be desired, and I don't recommend these if you're in that economy. Like you don't have the budget for a higher end bow. So if you're in that kind of situation, you're an adult that's fully grown and you're working on somewhat of a budget, then you're going to want to look at the single cam, any type of single cam bow setup. The reason that is we were just talking about cam timing. So usually in this type of a situation with this type of a bow package, the reason it's not $1,000 is because it's got very cheap strings. So what holds the cam timing is this cable and this cable that goes the opposite way are both the exact same length. If you shoot the bow over and over and over again, the one cable, because of its cheap quality, will stretch more than the other side, and now one cam is stopping at the incorrect position compared to the other one. You can bring it to me and I can put twist in the cable and make adjustments to that timing to correct it, and it could be as little as a half a dozen shots and the string is stretched again, or maybe best case scenario the string's held a little better. You shoot 100 shots and now your time is off. So you might have an arrow that starts off flying perfectly straight. Over the course of 100 shots, you can see it start to develop a corkscrew wobble to it. So for a kid that is going to be growing for a long time before they ever get into a hunting situation, the fact that their arrow wobbles a little bit doesn't really matter. If their arrow wobbles a little bit and they're shooting small game, the arrow's still going to have a ton of energy to ethically harvest small game animals. But if you're a grown adult and that arrow's flying wobbly and you're going to try big game, it's just going to end up being a headache, and the tuning is just going to be 10 times worse. This bow is not that much cheaper than a single cam, so I actually had that same situation where someone came to the shop. I told him this kind of difference in single cams and dual cams. He didn't want to spend the $100 more for the single cam, and he ended up making an incorrect purchase and bought a cheaper dual cam somewhere else. And that he came back and we had to replace his strings right away because his cheap strings weren't holding timing. He was in the shop, watched me fix the timing, and after 6 shots the timing slipped again and the bow could not be shot or fixed like it was without a brand new set of strings. So
he probably spent more getting the strings replaced than he would have just buying the right bow in the first place.
Buying the right bow, because what you're buying when you get a single cam, because there is no timing issues, associated with a single cam, the fact that it has a cheaper set of factory economy strings doesn't matter. This is also a better purchase for the people that aren't right next door to me. If you're in a community further away, this is a better bow for making your own adjustments. Either model, the single cam or the dual cam, most of the adjustments you can do yourself without a bow press or special tools. You just need an Allen key and stuff. The difference is that with a dual cam, like say if you're making adjustments to the poundage, there's 2 bolts associated with adjusting the poundage of any bow, and it's related to the limb bolts here on top and bottom. So there's 2 of them. So with adjusting the draw weight, you need to make 1 full rotation on the top and 1 full rotation on the bottom. With a dual cam, if you go 1/8 of an inch more on one turn of a bolt than the other, the cam timing is going to be affected by that, and the bow won't be able to be shot right. With a single cam bow, there's a lot more forgiveness with if you've made a little bit of you went too far on one bolt than the other, you'd have to do something really drastic.
I'm going to step back into the frame for a second because this is actually something that I think should be reinforced. Is that he was saying the solo cam ball is much more forgiving for adjusting your poundages and stuff, right?
Yep.
I got that right. Okay. The reason I'm going to bring that up is because if you're like myself, I do some 3D target shooting in the summer. St. John's Rad and Gun Club has a fantastic 3D course now, and Claremont getting one on the go. But I shoot my same bow year round. There's a lot of people in the club that have a target ball where they shoot lower poundages with different diameter arrows for all kinds of reasons I won't get into. And they have a separate bow for hunting with higher poundages. But for someone like myself who can't afford 2 bows, let's be honest, I shoot the same bow all the time, and I've been known to turn my poundages up and down depending on what I'm doing. And if I was doing that with a dual cam bow, I didn't even realize, I guess I did realize a little bit, but I didn't realize how much more important it is to make sure your adjustments are done the same for your poundage. So if you're going to be shooting one bow for both, even starting out, don't buy a dual cam bow, get the single cam, and that's going to give you a little more flexibility. Am I right for adjusting your poundages?
You are, but I would also like to add this point. This is something for you to keep in your back pocket. That then, if you make any drastic adjustments to your poundage, you can also then impact how your arrow's going to fly, because now it's not the correct spawn for the poundage.
Absolutely.
So if you go from shooting an arrow that was set up for a 70-pound bow, and now you've dialed it down to 55 pounds. Then that arrow might be now too stiff for that poundage, and if you're just talking about shagging around and just getting some reps in and practicing that way, it's not going to matter. But a cheaper setup than two bows is to have a setup for max poundage arrows, like have your arrows that you're set up for max poundage in hunting situations, then get another set of arrows that match that lower poundage, that if you dial in, you just put a different arrow on that's the same diameter arrow, same model arrow, but just in a different spawn.
Yeah, and for anybody from the Rad and Gun Club in St. John's who's watching, I actually didn't shoot at all up there last year, unfortunately, but it's been a while, but I am intending to get back. But anybody who's watched me shoot, I've always said I'm a perfect shot on a pie plate at 30 or 40 yards, but I just can never get it down to the 11 shots on the target.
You will now.
And the reason for that is because exactly what John just said. I didn't even invest in the two arrows, and I was okay with that. Like, that's just me. Like, I set up my bow for hunting. When I'm hunting, I'm a lot more accurate, but when I'm shooting targets, and I guess I never really put two and two together until you just said it, but I kind of knew the lower poundage will affect it. So basically what I'm doing is I'm shooting a arrow intended for 65 to 70 pounds, and I'm shooting it at 55 to 60. So it's affecting the flight of it. So it's just something to bear in mind, and that's a little bit too technical for some people who are getting into this for the first time. So we'll just kind of step back and get into what to look for when you're buying a bow.
Yep. And that was all good information too. So like now we're just going to briefly talk about like the advantages and disadvantages of like a single cam versus a dual cam. Dual cam typically has higher let off and higher arrow speed compared to a single cam. It's pretty marginal. I don't think it matters that much. I think what's more important is that you've got a bow that the arrow is flying straight, and there's a good saying in archery that a slow bullseye is better than a fast miss. So I don't get into this hype about speed and all this stuff. And when we're talking about let off, you're still talking about a single cam that has like 85% let off. I mean, you're only holding 15% of the bow's peak poundage at full draw. And like, just to put it out there, like I started off with a single cam bow. I had upgraded my accessories from the basic ones, and the bow was tuned up and shooting really good. And I've hunted everything on this island multiple times over. I've harvested 5 moose with that single cam bow alone, and charity moose, and my personal licenses as well. But I've never had an issue with penetration. Every arrow has gone completely clean through, and I've never had it where I couldn't hold the bow back long enough to execute the shot. So I think it's more important, if you're in that economy bow range, you're better off going with a single cam bow package, and then the tuning it's going to be half as much work to do the tuning that you need. If you want to go with a dual cam to get those perks like higher speed and higher let off, you're going to want to get into a higher like price bracket, like in the $1,000 range. Like one that we sell here frequently and I stand behind is the PSE Drive NXT. It's a really great dual cam that comes with a good set of strings, or anything from the Elite lineup, because Elite makes winner's choice strings, and a lot of people when they buy high-end bows from some really top manufacturers, first things they're going to do is they're going to take off the strings, and you're going to put on gas strings or winner's choice strings. But Elite Archery owns winner's choice strings, so if you've got a higher end budget that you can afford it, I really like the Elite lineup. There's a lot of great bows from them. But if you're in that economy bracket where like you don't want to like lose your shirt on it, you're gonna want to look at something like this. And just to give everybody some idea, like to get one of these fully decked out with the upgraded drop away rest, you're looking at about the $1,000 price range. But if you go any cheaper than that, you're just asking for a regret. And it's one thing I like to one way I justify it is, like, if you buy if you want to go small game and big game hunting, typically you need a shotgun for small game or 22 for small game, and then you need a centerfire rifle for big game. Versus this, you can, like any bow, you could just change the tips on yours for small game or big game, and you could do everything. It is I deal with all the major brands, but Elite Archery is one that I like. It's what I shoot, There's a lot of things. If you've got the bigger budget, the tuning technology that is in the Elites now to make it so you can do it yourself, that's definitely, like, you're not gonna have any regrets. I'd recommend taking a look at the Elite lineup and looking at their set technology, which allows you to do a lot of shot that traditionally you would need a pro shop and specialized tools to do. But if you're in that economy bow package range and you just don't have a big budget or anything like that, I highly recommend like saving up till you've at least got enough for a sensible single cam option. And we've got a couple different models, and if you want to give us a call, we'll see what we can do to work within your budget, because if you can't afford the fully decked out bow, the only accessories you really need to get started are the bow, an arrow rest, and a sight, and a trigger and arrow. So like, you can do without some other accessories. Not really ideal, but if you've got a budget but you want to get the bow you need, then like, you're better off saving up until you've got the money, right? Because if not, you're just going to be into the headaches of that other people run into when, okay, I gotta replace my strings on a brand new bow, and you don't.
So this was the second in 2 videos that I did here with John Gullidge from Arrow Addiction in Shoal Harbour, Newfoundland. Hopefully you learned something from it. The first one was all about tuning, and the second one was just a quick rundown on what to look for when you're buying a bow. I've known John for a while. I've actually known his dad a lot longer. Our parents worked together back in the day. But the last couple of years now, I've bought a few things off of John, and I've been making the trip out here to get his shop to service my stuff, which is fantastic. And in fact, well, first I'll say thank you for doing the videos.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you.
And hopefully you guys learned something. But I'm also going to throw in, I actually came out here, I was debating on just buying a new bow actually, instead of repairing my old one. I've been shooting an Elite for quite a while. I love the bow, so I came out to buy it, and believe it or not, he talked me out of it, because he said what I had was better than what I wanted to replace it with. So I thought that was a fantastic service, that he just didn't try and sell me, oversell me, or undersell me on something. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that, and I'll give you the final word here.
Yeah, and that's something that like I work hard for where I am in my life, and the money that I earn, you know, I work very hard to build my business up and stuff. So I don't want to be ripped off when I go somewhere and someone sell me something I don't need, and I try to like give that same respect to the customers that come in here, like yourself. Like, I see it all the time, like people come in and they've got really good bows that weren't set up properly, or just need new strings or something, like just a small upgrade in their arrow rest, and it's going to be like shooting a brand new bow. So like, I constantly comes in, I'm hoping there's going to be lots of people that will leave comments that back this up, and we've got good reviews on our Facebook page and stuff. But like, people have come in here with some really big budgets for brand new bow setups, and I'm like, actually what you got is a great bow, it's just not set up right, or it needs better arrow rest, and it'll shoot the lights out of anything else that's on the market. And
so that's something that people could consider as well. If they went out and they've already invested in a decent ball that's serving their purposes,
yeah,
maybe they can look at spending their money on accessories instead of a new ball.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, instead of buying a brand new ball and brand new setup, you know, let's just like upgrade that one arrow rest, and you'll already see a tremendous leap in your accuracy and your penetration. And if you're still looking for something like higher let off and speed out of your bow after that, then sure, like, let's get you an upgraded package. There are some differences. There's a reason some bows cost $1,500 and some of them cost $500. But sometimes people come in with models like your Elite is a bit of an older model, but it's a really good tried and true design. A lot of things about it I like. There's some better tuning technology that has come out to allow the user to tune up the bows themselves, and that's kind of what you're getting in a modern bow and a more expensive bow package these days. It's just some user-friendly tuning options. But your bow was like it was shooting really good. I didn't see any need to do anything other than those strings that were really need to be done. And at the same time too, I won't name any names, but there are some brands that we sell and carry that to me they're overpriced because they're paying for influencers and social media hype. That, you know, basically when you're paying for that bow, you're paying the premium for that bow, not because it's drastically better than anything that's $1,000 cheaper than it. It's because you're paying for the salaries of those influencers and competitive shooters that they have on their circuit. So I see it all the time. People come in here with really big budgets, like, I'm just gonna drop like $4,000 on a bow right now, and I'm like, well, if you got them in, I'll tell you why I think I can save you $1,000 and get you into an equivalent or better bow. That's because the companies are the better quality products and less influencers and professional shooters, but still great product. And I've saved people a lot of money, and it's something that like I take a lot of pride in. I'd rather like get you the right stuff than make $1 myself. I try to look after the honest folks and the hard work that you're doing to earn your own money, right?
Perfect. Well, I appreciate it again. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you check out Angling Arrows on all the social media platforms. Subscribe. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers. We're about 1,400 away, I think. So appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. And also check out Arrow Addiction here in Shoal Harbour. Links are in the description down below. And this is your man to set you up pretty much anywhere in Newfoundland. He'll be able to help you out. And they also do mail order, I believe, as well, right?
Yeah, we do. We
do some shipping
or anything through the website.
Yeah, so if you're looking for some specific accessories, then you can order that through his website. Oh, you're probably going to want to come in the shop.
Yeah,
Thanks, everybody. Shoot straight and stay safe this summer and fall. Here at Arrow Addictions in Shoal Harbour.
Arrow Addiction.
Arrow Addiction?
Arrow Addiction, yeah. Not addictions. Common mistake. Because there is a company that does like...
In regards to the strings, I'll jump in and shout out that he's not wrong about the winner's choice, because I shot mine for probably 10 years longer than I should have.
they held up. They
shout out to Elite. Yeah. Hey everybody, I'm back at Arrow Addictions now in... I'm trying to think. The dual cams are... Solo cams are more forgiving, right?
Yeah.
Because you've also... I'm going to sit...